another weekly live stream featuring everything Transformers Earth Wars. So welcome everyone to the chat. We'll be doing some welcomes in a minute. Trying to go through, what we're going to talk about. I'm sure everyone knows by now the big news that's out is that Ability 11 Batch 2 is now coming to the game this weekend. And although there's not a lot of bots in there that are in my war team, so not a lot of bots that I might be doing, there's a lot of people out there that are super pumped about this, cannot wait. They've been hoarding the spark, ready for it. And it's also going to be huge for the game. And huge for people that have got their maxed out bots. And, huge for people that just want to try and progress. And I think it's amazing for this game, Ability 11. And can't wait for the next batch. Can't wait for every single batch. It's going to be really cool. So, yeah, obviously we're covering batch 2, Ability 11. We'll be covering that in depth. So I'll try and pick up some questions as we go. We'll cover most things. We'll cover the newsletter. We'll go through Ability 11. We're going to test the new combats as well, go through them. So there's a lot of information to go through. If I don't get any questions during the stream, then at the end, I'll open it up. If anyone's got any questions, we can go over it again, have a look. And then I'll probably be doing a stream this weekend where I'll be doing a few more battles with the combats, looking in depth. So if you go away from this stream today and you're not sure of any information or in your chat there's a few questions, you're welcome to come and ask me this weekend when I do that stream. And then, we can go over any requests and really delve any deeper into Ability 11. Cool. So, I'm going to turn the chat off the screen a minute, and then we're just going to look and see who we've got in the chat. And I have seen some people asking about grapple already. Yes, we are testing grapple, and I can't say too much. I've had him taken away from my test account just for tonight, obviously, so I don't slip up like we have in the past. And but he's looking good. That's all I'll say, guys. Already, straight from the get-go, I'm already impressed with him. So, if you are thinking about, going for a leaderboard, then, personally, I think he's a good bot already before we even do anything else with him. So, yeah, he's already pretty good. Okay, cool. So it's cut off the beginning of who was actually here, but someone was here. So welcome to Chip Cox. Welcome to the Crusher. We've got Grind Time, Bruticus99. How's it going? We've got Blastware YouTube. Welcome to the stream. We've got Firefly123. We've got Sharks, one of our mods. Welcome. We've got Mitchell in the stream, Eric Parton. We've got Joseph Torillo, Jason Rowley. How's it going, Mike Bergie? Welcome back. We've got Coulter. We've got... Who else have we got? Windchaser, Chris Taylor, Stuck in Beta, Meg Supreme, Hammertail. Who else have we got? Anyone else I've missed? We've got Warpath. How's it going? Eli Nars and Moonmeister, I think it is. So, yeah, welcome everyone to the stream. So, I'm sure most people have, seen the newsletter by now, but we'll go through it anyway for those that haven't. Jeffrey Campos, how's it going as well? Welcome. And Jamie Ojeda. I don't want to keep going through it. I know people are jumping in saying hello, but hello to everyone. Hello, hello, hello. So, yes, today's, this week's event, is a Unlikely Aid. So that is a triple XP event. Most of it with Prime Core shards, shard crystals, battle boosters, combiner spark. So a decent event. Again, lots of alloy and energon. Just for the lower down players, for the newer players. So I think it's huge for them. I think that it's a good addition to the game. Just adding those in for newer players. And it just means that, they can upgrade a bit easier, So, triple XP, like we said, 10 points per battle zone. Triple XP, the standard sort of points that we get, 10 points per zone. Not a big fan of those events, but hey, it is what it is. So, yep. And then the shard crystals obviously contain premium shards, so 1,000 shards, which is a big improvement. So good to see. 200 3-star shards or 100 4-star shards. So you should pretty much get 10 prems, 1,000 4-star shards. Was it? Is it 30 prestiges? So yeah, 1,004 star shards and 2,003 star shards, which is not bad. It's an easy event. We've got a leaderboard coming up. It's a nice chilled event. So ability level 11. Super pumped for this. Cannot wait. So we'll sort of skip through. We're seeing that. So cliff jumper and kickback is 40% glass gas. We know that anyway, but now it does 40% less damage. So pretty much like a slowdown. So yeah, that's a good addition to cliff jumper. Huffer basically gets a Cybertron charge laser. It's called Luxon Destabilizer, but I'm not too sure why it's called that. I know it's a bit like the Raids, but preferably I'd have called it Cybertron Charge. But hey, Preceptor hacks 2 defenses in an area, so we'll talk a bit more in depth about that and about the balancing of it as well. Wheeljack basically adds more speed up and adds healing, so we'll talk a bit more in depth again about that. Swoop has a stun while he does his target. Nor has 2 extra Sharticons, which obviously increases the how much he can distract defenses, and then obviously it's extra DPS. Hound and Dragstrip, basically the hollow set on fire and adds a sort of creme Zeke damage at the end, which is pretty cool. Hotspot rushes in and then does damage at the end to a good radius. Powerglide basically gets more damage, but as well, we've done a slight sort of alteration to Powerglide, which I'm quite happy with, that he had in the first instance, and they changed it back in the day. So we have changed it back again after our feedback. Personally, I would like to see him done or graded even better, personally. But yeah, Powerglide is still a decent upgrade. And Mirage Breakdown have had an upgrade for a larger area. And obviously, we talked last year about them increasing in damage, so they've got a huge damage increase now as well. Stripes and Glitter, the new combats, and reading from the newsletter of the week, we know the healing combats of some kind, so we can talk about that. Grapple and Dirtbag. A lot of people, well, everyone was it's either Grapple or it's Retgar. We're not too sure, and I get why both people were like, either side of the fence, but it's been announced it is Grapple. I'd like to see Retgar as well. Hopefully he's coming soon, but it was pretty obvious going to be Grapple. The fact that Hoist was introducing him, the fact that he's in the toy line where Retgar isn't, all these things sort of add up really. Don't forget that the toys depict on what bots they've got to bring out really, with some slight alterations. But yeah, around the toy line. So if the toy line is there around the Earthrise figures, then usually that bot will come to the game. And then you also got to think that the new Kingdom series will be coming. So I think we'll see some more Beast Wars characters next year. So that's my sort of what I think will happen. Bug fixes and improvement. So we'll go through a bit of this. So based on player feedback, we've capped the player max at 96. And a lot of people have said, why not have it? Why not keep it 100? Why? And we just a lot of clever people did some clever sort of calculations before they even came out and were accessible. And we worked it out that basically, if you got all the new 20 bots from this year and you upgraded them all to max 4-star and 3-star, you still wouldn't be able to reach a level 100. Even if they brought out HQ 18, I still don't think you would be able to reach 100. It was so hard to get to. I mean, the likes of Prime Stark, who got incredible amount of bots maxed out high level, was still only level 94. So if he can't even get to like 96, imagine what it would take to get to level 100. You're talking pretty much maxing out all your bots. It was pretty much impossible. So we just felt like it wasn't fair to have a bot, to have a feature in the game, that was unachievable. It's not really fair. I get that some things must be hard to achieve and some things you might have to obtain over time, but this wasn't even obtainable at HQ 17.5. It was impossible. So yeah, sadly, it was brought down to 96, but with good reason. Air raid and slipstream fix an issue where ability 11, which caused targets not to receive the fusion effect. This was because they fixed the fusion bomb ability 11, stunning combiners in the last push. So yeah, obviously, what's as a side effect, the fusion effect has gone. So yeah, they've now added that back in. That should be fixed. They fixed barricades power values, which went, I think it went down, I think, once you get to a certain level, which was crazy. It didn't change the way the bot performed, but its power level went down. Huffer and lockdown mini lasers could target stealth bots, so that's been changed. Fire drive and blowpipe sound effect. I didn't know about this, but apparently they were off for some reason. And Mirage and breakdown ability damage now increased with each level of Spark, which we said last stream was going to happen. And they made some improvements to Aspiring Charge. This is interesting. So when triggered twice, the ability will lead the bots under its influence to a second target. So in the first instance, if you rush for a target, try rushing again, the bots would just go to the first target until it was destroyed. And it caused a lot of complications. So this is a great move. Slightly worried that people may just keep rushing to HQ. But again, this has been brought to the game. And, if this happens, do you mean like that, then they'll obviously correct it. Okay. That's pretty much covered the newsletter. So, jump on to the test server, see if it's still loaded. Cool. We have to load it up. So, yeah, a slight little disclaimer that we, put obviously on all these test server showcases is that it is a test server, that this is not my real account. I get so many questions saying, how have you got that many coins? Is it hack? Can I get them? Can I join your alliance? Can I get a test server base? You've got to be either a content creator or a tester to even get one of these bases. And it's not something that you can just ask to get. It's something that the apes will ask who wants to, be a tester and who wants to be, a content creator if you are. But you do need to have, like, I think, 1,000 subs, something like that. So yeah, it is hard to get a hold of a test base, guys. Not something to just give out willy-nilly. And yeah, like I said, this is not connected to global in any way. So I can't transfer this account and war with it, and anything like that. It's it's totally separate from my main account. It's just a test account, so I can showcase you these new things, and just so we can so I can test things out for the test environments when we get the new bots as part of testing. Cool. Disclaimer done. Okay, so we're going to go through one by one. Not there. So first bot we're going to look at is Hotspot. So Hotspot. So we have got his G1 core on. So you got to take that into consideration. Put on a protective shield, reflects 6% damage. Obviously, that's more with his gold core. And yeah, for 11 seconds, and then deals 2,087 damage at the end. So this is obviously at the max level, 5-star. So obviously that would be slightly less for the 4-star and below. Personally, I would like to see it more. And then at one point, he was a lot stronger than what he is. But when we did that, then they just cut it back. They just said that it's too powerful. We need to reduce it. Okay. It seems we've got a few trolls in the chat. So I'm sure the moderators, can you just report them and just remove them? I'll do the first couple. There we go. There we go. Cool. Okay, so yeah, so Hotspot's pretty decent as well. Well, it's a decent bot anyway. is a good, a good bot in the, in the game anyway. And the thing is, guys, trolls like this, end of the day, they're just slowing the stream down. That's all they're doing. Cool. Apologies, guys. Apologies for slowing the stream down. But hey, you're always going to get them, aren't you? You're always going to get them. Okay, cool. So yeah, it is a bit of an AoE explosion. I've seen someone ask in the chat. It is a slight AoE damage. So yeah. Next on the list is Wheeljack, and a lot of people saying that they aren't impressed with Wheeljack and they're not going to bother, and things like that. And I think that the problem is that they think that it's going to be the same as Ratchet, but it's not. It is it is slightly less than Ratchet, but again, Ratchet has a heal bomb, so it's not going to be the same as Ratchet. It is going to be slightly less, but the main thing is the speed up. So it's about half the same of Ratchet's heal bomb, but then obviously the speed up is considerable. So how I would say to choose between Wheeljack and Ratchet. People saying, "Oh, which one's best?" And I think the difference is that if you want defense, then you choose Ratchet. Ratchet is going to be the main problem of defense because obviously it adds heal bombs. So the heal bomb, like I said, is a health, a health increase for the bots, whereas the speed up is, a lot more important in terms of Wheeljack. So it's more attack Wheeljack. So if you're struggling attack and you're timing out on bases, I would suggest looking at Wheeljack and giving him ability 11. Whereas if you're looking at defense because your bots lack health and you're struggling to get through bots for that reason, then you can obviously refer to ability 11 for Ratchet more because obviously that will give you a health boost. So it depends what you want it for. If you want it for a speed up, then Wheeljack. If you want it for Ratchet, then that gives you a health boost. So yeah. Okay. Apologies again. Okay, cool. Okay, Preceptor. So Perceptor, this was an interesting one because when we when we did Perceptor at first, there's a bit of a glitch with it, whereas it was like a domino effect. So what happened is the effect hit the target, whichever you choose, and then that passed on to basically the next target. But the problem being was that one then hit the next target and the next target. And it's like a domino effect, and basically just cleared a lot of the base. And I think that it was it was that good that people expected that, but it couldn't stay that way. It couldn't be. So they had to claw it back. So then they decided that it was going to hack one defense. But again, we said this is not good enough for ability 11. It needs, it needs more. And so we decided that, it's it needs something else. So they've made it 2 targets. Personally, it's still a bit underpowered, but sadly, it is what it is. But he's still a really good bot. He's got like the age factor, he's it's still decent. It's still a decent bot at the end of the day. It's not an amazing ability 11, but it's a good increase for a good bot regardless. And it's definitely worth it. But yeah, it's still decent. Then we've got no, we haven't. Let's look at the next one. So we'll put Hound back in again, and we'll put Mirage back in. There's Mirage. Okay, so obviously again these are maxed 4 stars. So Hound, like we said, releases 5 hollow, 2,400 damage. That's nothing different than normal. And then sets them on fire for an additional 1,000 damage over 6 seconds and double damage to resource buildings. So basically, a maxed out Hound will one shot any resource buildings. So it can clear a good area and still does good damage to defenses and things like that. But what you got to think of is this is still a 4-star bot. So if it was a 5-star bot, which is a possibility in the near future, the damage is going to do is probably 3,000 damage and then maybe 1,500 extra damage. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So Vincent's put a max Hound can 3-shot any defense in the game. Yeah, well, imagine at a 5-star, he may even 2-star, even 2-shot something. It could be absolutely really incredible as a 5-star. But we've got to wait and see to see what batch. The batch is coming in March, the next batch. So it could be amazing. Well, hopefully he is. But I think that's determining. Sometimes when we're looking at the 4-star bots and you think ability 11, you think, well, that's all right. It's not that good. But the problem being is that the 8th planet, if this releases a 5-star, then it's going to be absolutely amazing. That's when we'll see the true, how good that bot is. Okay. Mirage. So Mirage shoots out 6 rockets, disabling enemy defense for 8 seconds and dealing extra damage. So obviously the area is a bit bigger. We'll have to see that in testing, then you can really see. But the good thing about this with Mirage is there's 2 cores you can put on. You can put through a volatile mixture, and the volatile mixture adds about 400 extra damage. So if we take that away a minute, so you're still looking at 3,400 damage. So if you're looking at that, but then you've got his G1 core as well. So if you want to give him some more sort of defensive protection, you can add his G1 core, and that will give him a bit more protection. Where if you want to add in more damage, you can add a volatile mixture. So that's really good. What you have got to remember, though, guys, is that same as Silverbolt, exactly the same. Where he can, it won't EMP the MDS, and he won't EMP. What else? I'm trying to think what else he can't EMP. Obviously, the EMP reduction cores matter a lot, so that's taken consideration. But it still does the damage regardless, but it won't EMP them. So you just got to, you've got to remember that. Okay. Then we've got Swoop. Yeah, and Shock Tower as well, Crusher. You are right. Well done. That's what I'm thinking of. Okay, and then Swoop obviously sets out stun the targets in the area. So exactly the same as before, but obviously it adds a stun. I think it's around 6 seconds with the stun. But you've got to think that he keeps obviously going round and round and round. So obviously that stun will probably be quite considerable. Just to all the moderators, so any of the mods, can you put hide on this channel, and then they will be hidden throughout, rather than just deleting the comments. If you put hide on this channel, then all their comments will be hidden, just as a and there we go. Done. Okay, apologies again for all the interruptions. I know what's happening, but obviously some people got nothing better to do today. Okay, Huffer. Someone just put, why am I stuttering? It's because I'm trying to do a stream while I'm also trying to moderate a chat. You know, and it's no easy feat. So anyway, so Huffer ability 11, like I said, basically adds like a Cybertron charge laser. So we'll look at that. It's just basically more damage. Then we've got Powerglide. So 18 bombs on a line doing the target. This did show like 10,000 damage, and when it was shown, you know, people were, you know, saying, wow, like, I can't believe it's 10,000 damage. That's incredible. But don't forget that, you know, it's not every single missile that hits that target does 10k damage. You know, it can be a, you know, a multitude of things, you know. So, yeah, it doesn't do that much damage. It can one-shot probably a beam laser on a 6511 on a Cybertron level, I think, something like that. So, yeah, he can still do a decent amount of damage, but I just think that his ability lacks a bit. I think it needs a buff. But one thing they have done is that before the balancing, we decided that we wanted him to target an open area. So you don't have to choose a defense anymore. You can target any sort of open area, and then you will you know, you don't have to target this defense anymore. It's just a bit less restrictive. You can put it where you want it, basically. You don't have to target a certain defense. You can put it in between two and equal the damage out. Personally, I think the damage needs increasing, but the apes really aren't a big, you know, they're not fond of, you know, buffing the older bots that aren't going to be 5 stars. And I don't agree with it. I've said that in the past. I think that, you know, all the bots should be looked at each individually, especially ones like Powerglide that are, you know, slightly lacking really in the game. But, you know, sadly, you know, the apes aren't going to look at it. Big thank you to Grind Time and Kenny as well for the donations. Big thank you. And if you want to give a finger to the trolls, then hit that like button on the stream. Okay, and then we've got, obviously, No. Slimper does 2 extra Sharkticons, hence why I haven't put him in the lineup. We know what No does. We know what kind of damage he does. It's crazy, but literally just 2 extra Sharkticons. And then we have Cliff Jumper. If we can find him, presumably down a bit because he's quite good. Where's Cliff? There he is. And then Cliff Jumper again is exactly the same. Some of us wanted his range maybe extended. Sadly not. Again, they've just you know, kept it the same, but it has got a slowdown effect, so it does help a bit. But personally, again, not a big fan of it. I don't think it's great. I don't think that anyone will see Cliff Jumper as ability 11. But you know, it is what it is. Sadly, it is one of the things. But maybe it's a 5-star, then he'll get an improvement. But yeah. Timber says, I saw stripes. We are showcasing stripes today. It's a bit of a glitch that came through that he come on here and it's come up like that. So yeah, we are looking at later. Don't worry. But yeah, we are showing them on the stream anyway. Don't worry about Sharks. It's fine. We are going to be showcasing the bots later anyway. So what we're going to do, we're going to take them all into battle one by one. We're not going to take in Gnaw and Cliff Jumper. Nothing's really changed with those guys. You know, it's still the same. So we are going to look at all of the bots and then give them a bit of testing. But yeah, it's all right. Don't worry about it, Sharks. He's only looking out for me on my stream. But yeah, it is. You know, we are going to showcase him today. You know, normally we try and hide them things, but yeah. And people asking why is it there in my bots? It's just a bit of a glitch that I don't know why. But whenever I get some of the combats, it comes through as a glitch into there, and then yeah. Can I show us what happens if you use Hotspot's ability before the shield times out? I'm not sure what you mean for that exactly. Yeah, again, it's just 0 because it's just a bit of a glitch. On the test server, don't worry about it. So I'm just going to go into normal mode. So obviously normal mode is around Cybertron level. We could go into or anything like that, but people can do the calculations anyway. But it's hard because you can think Hotspot can reflect more on Prime League and it's going to take more damage as well. But If we do it at Cybertron level, then everyone knows what they're getting, basically. Obviously, for hard mode, you got to add 10% DPS and HP. But yeah, I'm sure the clever guys like that can, well, Jason Roller reckons that will be a 5-star along with Bumblebee. Well, even I don't know. Even I can only guess. You never know. Okay, so Hotspot. So standard as normal. Obviously, he's got that shield on because he's got his G1 core. But we'll head into that cannon there, and you can see reflecting. So with my testing, you can normally take out a shock tower with very little extra DPS that it's got to do. So you can see there, it takes out that, and then the extra damage you can see there. The problem is the radius is not big enough. So if we do this one here, you'll see it a lot better. So defenses that are clumped together, you'll get a lot more damage out of it. But, damages that are a bit further away, not so much. It seems to be that defenses on the edge a lot less damage. So this at one point was absolutely amazing. And the radius was incredible. And the apes just said it's just a bit too powerful, sadly. And so they sort of scaled it back a bit. And it's still okay. You can see there's good damage. But it's just not as good as it was, sadly. Still good, but not as good as it was. And he's dead. So we'll have a go at Wheeljack, like I said, but we know what Wheeljack does. We'll just put him on with another bot. We know that he obviously gives a speed, but a lot more now. And then we obviously know that he gives a health boost as well. So yeah. Hotspot, like I said, is okay. It's not a bad upgrade, but you've got to think though that Hotspot is one of the best bots in the game. He's up there that people still using the war team, and so adding this in, is a great addition to the game. There's obviously going to be some where you look at and go, "Wow, that's absolutely amazing." There's some you look at and go, "Maybe not so much," and there's some you might even look at and think, "Well, it might be worth doing if I've got the spark spare." And that's for you guys to decide. I can sit here and say this is decent, this is okay, but ultimately, 1 million spark is a lot to invest in a bot. So whether it's beneficial or not is down to you guys, whether it suits your team. But obviously, I can just talk about what I actually what I think on the whole. So we'll go with who's next. So we've got Preceptor, and we'll put Wheeljack on with him as well. So when you look at Preceptor as well, he's still decent. He's still good. When I said it last time, it's a minute ago, you might say, well, that sounds pretty awful considering what it was. No. He went from being twice as good as Blades to being not quite as good. And that's how far it's gone. So obviously, on tower there just for testing. So for argument's sakes, we'll put Wheeljack down. So we'll hack that. And you can see there that obviously hacks. And then you can see there that it hacks the other defenses as well. So you can see there that the cannon, it's just the cannon. I think it's just hacked the cannon there. So then we'll hack this cannon here. You see there, that's hacked the shock tower. And I think there might be a glitch with that because that just seems to me like it's hacking one defense, which was what it was before the buff. Maybe it's not gone through to the test server, but it should hack two. But I'll pass it on to the apes because it should definitely hack two defenses. And then if you look here, we can put Wheeljack on himself. And there's a heal boost. And you can see there that that's pretty much instant. Whereas Ratchets will take 5 seconds as a slow increase. Where this is, health increase straight away. Bang, done. So it's more like sort of like you see with sandstorms. There we go. Wheeljack and Preceptor. So like I said, Perceptor is not designed to make the best bot in the game. It's designed to give him that extra edge and that extra defense. So yeah, a lot of people that have, said already that, Wheeljack's ability is nowhere near as good as Ratchet's. It's different. You got to think that you get an 80% speed up as well. So it's considerable. Who would I put with Hotspot? Well, we'll talk about that later as well. We'll talk a bit about, I'll be honest with you, any questions about anything outside of Ability 11, then come to the stream at weekend. We'll discuss more a bit in depth. If I sort of start taking loads of questions on board about which bot to put with which one and combats and things like that, it's going to get really swamped. But to be honest with you, nothing's changed in terms of Hotspot. You still put the same combats on you always would. And it's every bot in the area. Yeah, so every bot that is ability touches will get that speed increase or that health increase. So yeah, it's quite considerable. Okay, Hound. So the big thing about Hound that people forgot or people don't realize, if you use him a lot, then you'll know that, is that his range is absolutely incredible. And that's why as a 5-star, it could be amazing too. So I can see Chris saying that's about stripes. Yes, we'll be covering stripes. Don't worry. All in good time. We'll cover it. So looking at Hound. So straight away, we just dropped Hound there. So if we look at his range there, his range is pretty much half the map. People forget this, that, he's right at the bottom of the map there. It can only reach them MDS right at the top, which is ridiculous if you think about it. So we're going to target the kind of in the middle there. It's pretty cool that the hollows come out orange. You can see there, it's hit the energy on storage, and then the burn has one-shot it over time. Just put Wheeljack on top of this as well. Give him a speed up. And then we'll hit the MDS when he's not stunned. You can see there, in terms of the MDS. And then one more time. You can see there that he's two-shot the MDS. And this, don't forget, this is a 4-star. This is only the 4-star. So the 5-star will one-shot anything on hard mode. Granted, this is a Cybertron, so I think it'd be slightly short for hard mode. But yeah, at hard mode for a 5-star, he will two-shot anything. So yeah, really good. If you're struggling getting through bases, I think sometimes people forget how important it is to get those high HP structures. Those 6,000 HP structures are there also to slow you down sometimes. And the time that your bots are taking to battle through them, they are not targeting defenses and they get hit for more. So hitting, those structures and getting them out of the way is huge. And the range as well. And I think as a 4-star, he's good. Don't get me wrong, that is maxed out at 6511. It's a big investment. But if he is brought out as a 5-star, that would be pretty immense, I think. And I think that a pretty much sought after bot. I think that hopefully with his balancing during as a 5-star, I think that maybe we could look at his G1 core, because his G1 core is pretty poor. We'll just remind everyone of his G1 core a minute. So his G1 core is increasing special ability damage by 12%. So we could even increase that by adding on a volatile mixture. But I still don't think it will two-shot at, at Prime League level. We can test it in a minute if you want. And every 15 seconds drops a decoy with 30% of your health. That decoy is pretty much useless. It really is. So if we upgrade his core, it's still only 14.8. So let's take off that. We'll put on a volatile mixture core. I could do with a volatile G metal Hound core. I think that may do it. That's still only 13%, mind you. So looking at Hound's G1 core then. And then what we'll do is we'll upgrade that to max. I'll tell you what I'll do for weekend. I'll get a G metal Hound core. And then we'll try it again on Hound. Leader 1 misses the 2 decoys. Yeah, it was a bug with Hound where you got 2 decoys. But again, I still don't think it was that beneficial. So yeah, this is totally maxed out with a gold G1 core. So what we'll do is we'll go in again on hard mode. So we've gone hard mode, which obviously adds 10% HP onto all the buildings. So we'll see if we can two-shot that MDS stuff. Again, apologies. Should have maybe thought on about that, but we'll look at weekend. Something for the weekend. Okay, let's hit the MDS. The only thing I don't like about Hound is how random the ability is. It's not, I honestly can't see, any path into it. Some people told me it does, but it looks like it popped into a shot. That's just about half its health gone. Yeah, so that's on hard mode as well. Can target billbots as well. So if you've got billbots that are far away, you can easily take them out. So yeah, pretty incredible damage, really. Considering you can two-shot at max in Prime League is, pretty impressive. Hound's Hollow only becomes useful with RC and Rook. Well, if they give it more health, I think they should have maybe even Hound's health, because you got to think that Rook's Hollow has like 16 health, and so does 5-star RC. Whereas with Hound, because his G1 gives it 30% of his health, because as a gunner, that's only 2,000 health. That's not that much health. Personally, I'd like to see that health a lot more. A lot more. Okay. Let's go on to Mirage. So I was fighting for Mirage for a long time. And, considering he's had a G1, he's had ability 11, he's had a buff, he's had a lot of work into him. And I think that he's finally at a point now where he's quite viable in the game and could be really useful. So this is, I'm pretty sure he's not got any core on here. So don't forget, this has not got a volatile mixture on. This has not got his G1 on. So he's losing that protection. He's losing that damage. This is just core as he is. And don't forget as well that his G1 extends the stun by 1.6. So I think it extends it from 8 seconds to about 13 seconds, it will be. So yeah. Chris Taylor has got his G1 and G metal. Well, if you've got a 4-star Mirage, then maybe this is the time to drag it out. So looking at here, you see there, that's a huge area. You can see that area there that is targeted. And the damage as well, that this is without a volatile mixture, but it can pretty much two-shot most defenses. That's a huge area that he stuns. So you got to think this is just Mirage with Wheeljack, nothing else. So again, you can see there that he can't stun the MDS. He can do damage still, but he can't stun the MDS. And you can see there that I'm targeting there, but it's still hitting, those mortars up there. He's still got a crazy range, right? Crazy range. So anything sort of, I'd say 2 defenses wide, possibly. So yeah, it's a lot of stun in a big area. And again, that's without his G1 core. That's without a volatile mixture. So the volatile mixture will add more damage. His G1 core will add a longer stun. And you got to think, well, he died quite quick. Well, yeah, it's a gunner and a healer. He's going to die pretty quickly. You put that behind, behind your tanks, and then you put it, in front of your tanks, they're not getting much damage. And because he's got such, a great range as well, that any defenses that are, that are far away, you can still reach. He's still got a good range. So, the likes of Mirage and Hound's range is actually quite considerable. So, yeah, another good addition. Then we've got Swoop. So Swoop is a hard one. Swoop at the start, he had, I can't remember what he had now, but we just said this is not really good. It made him faster. It made him faster and was in the air for less amount of time. Now, the problem with that is that, okay, but then he still does the same damage. Quicker, but still does the same damage. So we weren't happy with that. And we added stun to it. And then the stun was pretty decent. But then we asked, can we speed up and the stun? That'd be pretty good. But then the stun then stuns for less. And I don't think the 8s were too keen on doing both. So we've just had to stick with the stun. And, the speed up was good because it reduced the time in the air. But again, what we said was that if you've got an anti-air core, whether it took him twice as quick or not, he was still getting absolutely slaughtered in the air. So it didn't make that much difference apart from doing the damage quicker. So, yeah. Tim just put G1 Hound and Drag Core to increase health instead of decoy. I'm not sure what you mean exactly. Okay, in terms of Swoop. So now, Swoop is exactly the same, but anything that it targets now stunned. So you can see there that it doesn't stun shock towers. Is that the same as, Silver Ball and, all the other stun bots? That, it does have extra damage, don't get me wrong, because he has an ability upgrade. But, yeah. But it's just got that stun. That's the main thing. Now, the main thing about this is what we haven't talked about really is on defense. And I think that's where we'll see a huge benefit to Swoop is on defense. If you put him on defense now, it's only a 6-second stun, but that's not from the first stun, it's from when he finishes. So, and again, I've just seen Vincent's put, Swoop is scary on defense. So yeah, so not only does he do incredible damage, but he also stuns the targets now. So I think we'll see him used a lot more on defense, and I think that's the side of it where you might even see it. Same with Preceptor. The Preceptor can hack 2 targets. Not only does it hack 1 bot, it'll hack 3 bots, so 1 and 2 targets. So yeah, my burgers put, oh man, it'll stun your entire team. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so a good upgrade to Swoop. On attack is pretty good. On defense, I think it'll be absolutely incredible. Avenger, this is just ability 11. These are just the upgrades for ability 11. So 1 to 10 is just standard for all these bots. Nothing will change. This is just ability 11. And this is where you need to decide as well. A lot of these bots are 4 stars. Powerglide, Huffer, Swoop, Mirage, Hound are only 4 stars. So you've really got to consider if it's worth it, because what you don't want to put 11 into Swoop and then all of a sudden in March they bring out a 5-star Swoop. I mean, you may never get a 5-star Swoop. So you might think, it's worth it for me to put it to a 4-star. That's your choice again. That's your choice entirely. But, it all depends on whether you're going to chase a 5-star or not. And, that's hard for me. It is, because I don't think I'll ever get a 5-star Hotspot, Wheeljack, or Preceptor. Those 3 batches I'm not going to go for anymore. I'm going to go for the current batch in March, I think, depending on who's in there. But I think that, looking at the last batch and what we did with the last batch and how good it was, I think we'll see that again. I think we'll see the next batch really incredible, suited to HQ 17.5. Older bots will be probably buffed. When we saw Laser Optimus, everyone was like, oh, I ain't pulling from this batch. Not a chance. Laser Optimus, rubbish. Rhinox, rubbish. Smokescreen, rubbish. Blades ain't that good. I want Rhinox out of the bunch. Maybe Jetfire. And that's what everyone was saying. But as soon as that batch came out and everyone actually saw it in practice, everyone was like, I don't want Rhinox and Jetfire. I want Laser Optimus. I want Blade. I want Smokescreen, because they just got buffed to hell. So, this could be, the start of a 5-star being absolutely incredible. But we'll see. Next, we've got Huffer. We'll show Huffer, we'll show Powerglide. Like I said, we're not really going to show Gnaw because we know what that is, just 2 extra sharks. We're not going to show Cliff Jumper because we know what that is, exactly the same. But we're going to do a few little tests that I've been doing just to show people that things that they work with, things they don't, and then we'll have a look at the new combats as well. Okay, so then we've got Huffer. We'll put down. So putting Huffer down. So let's get him in range. So putting these lasers down. And you can see there that the amount of damage that they do is pretty considerable. You can get 4 lasers down. And you notice that Wheeljack, heals the lasers too. So yes, and Wheeljack does make them go faster as well. So you can put Huffer and Wheeljack together and it will speed up the lasers. And you can see there that it's making toast out of most defenses. Oops. It does have a decent range on the lasers, but again, if you put one laser down, that's pretty good. But once you put multiple lasers down, they do ridiculous damage. So yeah, I'm pretty impressed with that. I mean, Huffer was okay to begin with, and he needed an improvement in damage. That's what he needed. For me, he did enough damage than lasers. They were good, but not enough damage. And I think that is incredible. And grind time, Huffer 5-star, exactly. If Huffer was a 5-star, as he is now, just DPS, laser upgrade, would be incredible. Absolutely incredible. Do Spider-Man's prioritize makes of gunners? No, just prioritize the nearest bot. That is all. We're worried I was going to see lots of Chromium swoops in defense at every level. Yeah, again, not everyone's going to do ability 11 for swoop. You've got to think, though, as well, we've been talking about this as well in the playtest chat, that we don't want loads of bots with 30 seconds stun. You will see lots of 6, 8, and 10s because we have that anyway. You know, Star Saber does, I think it's 8 seconds. Elita as well does 8 seconds. So we're going to see 6 and 8 and maybe 10-second buffs. 6, 8, and 10-second stuns. We're going to see them anyway, but that's nothing different than what's already in the game. It's those 20 to 30-second stuns that are different. Those are the ones that will make a big difference to the game. And, you know, Swoop's only got 6-second stun, so it's not a huge deal. I won't worry too much about it. But is the stun coupled with the damage? And I think that, you know, at high levels, then it could be. Okay. I've just seen Sharks saying he can't wait for Powerglide. Well, here is Powerglide. Sharksy Hopper Buffer. Yeah, that was an old hashtag that I did back in the day. Wow, that's going back a bit. And yeah, he did need a buff. And he got, I think he's about 3 buffs, Hoffer now. Something like that. He had 3 buffs and he's still not quite there. But I think with ability 11 he is, you know, quite considerable. So Powerglide, I don't want to get your hopes up, Sharksy, because for me is the most disappointing of all the ability 11s, simply because it's just a bit of damage extra. That's it. He's still inconsistent with his damage to the point where, you know, you can't rely on it apart from the one shot. And yes, he does extra, but we'll give you an idea. So put him there. So this is on normal mode. So put him on the mortar. You can see there that it does considerable damage to the mortar, but can't one-shot it. And it does some damage over there as well. A bit of damage to the beam. We'll do to this mortar over here. But again, I'm using the ability now, and I can't not exactly say which defenses he's going to hit and which he isn't. You know, he can't one-shot a mortar at max. You know, he can one-shot a launcher. But you can see there that I've just targeted the launcher and he didn't have to kill it. But I know he can one-shot. I've done it. It depends on his angle of attack. We'll go again. I just want to prove how inconsistent he is. I said this to the apes, and, you know, I didn't get anywhere with it. And I think the main problem is the inconsistency. Because if you can one-shot beams and one-shot, you know, launchers, then, you know, he is viable. You know, you can use him at any level. You know, but, you know, if you can't rely on it, you are not going to use it. You know, imagine if Prowl could one-shot sometimes and other times. Imagine if Jetfire could one-shot sometimes and not other times. How frustrating that is when you're attacking and you've got that one defense. You think, if I can take that defense out, I can get through this bit. I've got to take that defense out. And then 9 times out of 10, it takes it out, and the one time it doesn't. That's pretty infuriating. So let's see, because I did earlier. So he's not there. Not quite there. We'll do it there. And you can see there, right, because you can look at the 3 there. So you've got the beam laser and you've got the launcher there that have nearly been taken out. And I'll be honest with you, I think it's because I haven't got any EO core on. If I had an EO core on, I think it could one-shot. But the launcher there, because it's a different angle of attack, it's done less damage. And for me, that's just not good enough. And Coulthard's put it there. It's about the angle. It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't depend on the angle. You know, it should depend on, simple damage. You have to be closer to your target. Well, that is closer. Again, I get it. I used to use Powerglide a lot back in the day. I've not used it for a good few years. But again, that you shouldn't rely on that. You shouldn't have to, rely on if it's closer, if it's further away, if it's a certain angle. It's not good enough. It's really not. It should be consistent, whether it's the other side of the map, which Silverbot does. Silverbot does the same damage, whether it's the other side of the map or whether it's right here. And all jets do the same damage no matter what. Exactly. Mike Burgess put, how many little tricks have you got to do to make him work? And that's the problem, is inconsistency. People dropped Ultra Magnus for the same reason, that sometimes he one shots, sometimes doesn't, depending on how close targets are and depending on, it's not good enough. Inconsistency in the game is not. If it's an AoE attack, I kind of get it a bit. And it is a kind of AoE, but it's not, because it doesn't do the right damage in any area. It's just so frustrating for me that, we've got this bot that is so off the meta and so poor, and the apes just aren't going to fix it in any way. And, I'm still going to complain about it to the apes. I'm still going to fight for it, because I forgot how bad he was until I started testing him. And when it showed 10k damage, I had a glimmer of hope. I thought 10k damage, wow, that's incredible. And tried him, and that's the result. I was like, 10k damage, it looks amazing on paper, but when you actually try it out, 10k damage is not a lot. I'm still talking about Powerglide. It's not good enough. It really needs improving. His essay from should have turned his bomb light into a bomb blanket grind time. That's exactly what I said. I said, if forget ability 11. Why should we accept that 1 to 10 is absolutely awful and then 11 makes him good? Basically what I said was he should be like Sunstreaker. He should drop a bomb like maybe the size of Air Raid or Sunstreaker on a target where maybe the primary target, like Firefly, so the primary target gets X amount, and then the area around it gets less damage, maybe. But he needs something else. He definitely needs something else. So that is ability 11 on the whole. But what we're going to do is we're going to try a few things, because I have tried using. We're going to take out Swoop, because we know what happens with Swoop pretty much. He just stuns. So what I've been doing, I've been toying a bit with Inferno and looking at Inferno's damage with all the bots. So Inferno and Hotspot doesn't do much extra damage, really. It does a bit extra. It's not that, that good, really. Inferno and Wheeljack, I've tried. I'm not too sure if it stacks or not. It says it doesn't stack. It doesn't stack on itself. I don't think it stacks with anything else. So I tried that with Wheeljack. It didn't really work that well. With Preceptor, it works okay. Hound works okay, but the damage that Hound does, it's over a small period. Slightly more with Kremzik, so you can maybe and Vincent's put, can you try using Hotspot twice in quick succession? I will have a go of it. Mirage again, but the main one that I found was really impressive. I will show you now. I think the problem is, Vincent, that the explosion is after his shield. So if you use him once and use him again, I don't think the explosion kicks in until the shield goes. But we'll give it a try. I've not tried that in testing, but we'll give it a try. So we're going to put Wheeljack down. But Inferno, Wheeljack down. So what we did was put Huffer's lasers down. And then did Inferno on top. And the damage that they did is ridiculous. They absolutely annihilated the base. We can even then add a speed up and a heal bomb to them. And again, there we go. They've got a speed up. They've got a heal bomb. Yeah, and my burgers put, and then Wheeljack to speed them up as well. So you can put, like I said, you can put Inferno on. You can't put them on at the same time, but you can put Wheeljack on afterwards. And so instead of stacking, you can just pretty much keep adding them both. It reduces the cost of, doing repeat uses of Inferno. But yeah, absolutely incredible damage. So if you've got Inferno in your team, your war team, I know a lot of people dropped him when him and Elita, when him and Elita stopped stacking the ability and Windblade as well. He's still a viable bot if you've got him at a decent level, and Huffer ability 11 is quite incredible. So if Huffer comes at a 5-star, I think I'd be pretty pumped to get him. I think it'd be incredible. I really do. And you got to think there that the were left out in the open, easily beaten. If you're in a walk team and you put them down, even when you're against against combiners and against outpost bots, you start using them beams. They're gonna take them out quite quickly. I wanted smoke screen for that exact reason. What level sludge is that in the outpost? That will be 5810. So still medium level, but still quite incredible. But yeah, it absolutely melts stuff. It really does. Buff, speed, and regen. So Jason Rowley, obviously you've got obviously the lasers which do more damage. Then you added Inferno, which increases the damage. Then you've got Wheeljack that increases the speed up. So you're not stacking them, but you can use them alternatively, if that makes sense, to reduce the cost. And those beams will just eat anything. So yeah. Huffer with Wheeljack and Inferno is a pretty deadly combo, even without, I think, the ability 11. Is a 4-star Huffer worth investing Spark into? Again, it's quite hard. He's an okay bot. He's not bad. If you're lacking in DPS, then he's a decent tank. He's not got incredible health. I mean, looking at mine on the test server, so I can find him. So Huffer there, he has 20,000 health. 460 DPS. He's quite mid-range at everything, Huffer. He doesn't excel at anything. He's not got amazing DPS. He hasn't got amazing health. He's okay. He's got extra DPS though from his lasers, which is quite cheap. So, he's a decent bot. I think he's quite, underappreciated, But as a 5-star, I think he'd be absolutely incredible. I'd definitely use Huffer as a 4-star. Whether I'd take him to 11 as a 4-star, me personally, I think that the problem is that I think that I would only take 11. I would only take 5 stars to 11, me personally, because I'm quite lucky in the amount of 5 stars I've got. I think I've got 12 5-stars, so I'm quite lucky in that sense. But for those that haven't got it, if you've got Spark available, do you save it for your 5-star? Do you invest in a 4-star? It's a lot to invest. If your ability 7, I think it's 2.5 mil to get it to ability 11 one bot. That's a lot to ask for people, but if you've been playing the game for a long time, you've got a lot of bots at 9 and 10. If you've got Swoop at 10, and all your bots are around 10, then what else are you going to do? If you're not going to get a 5-star for quite a while, you could save for that. But I believe that the apes are going to look at maybe increasing Spark at all levels in some way. I'm not too sure yet. We've been talking about with them. We said the lack of Spark. The amount of bots you've got to level is ridiculous. And, people are, again, we're not going to do ability 11 and 4 stars. Because of the lack of Spark, because you're not going to invest in it, because if you put 2.5 million into a bot, it's going to take some people 6 months to get that back. So I think they're looking at ways to increase Spark in some way. Spark, combine a Spark. I'm not too sure about Combat Spark. I don't think that's really that rare as such, especially being a new feature. But we've all proposed that Spark and Combat Spark gets increased for us, in some way. Again, whether that's total Spark crystals at the end of events, I don't know. Whether it's in War Rewards, because that's about that, I don't know. Really don't know. Is it worth investing Spark in any of these bots on 8 to 9? The main question, when anyone asks me that, Chris Taylor, the main thing I say to them is, do you use this bot? How much do you use it? If you use it in Wars and use it in Zen farming and for getting resources, yeah, it's definitely, it's definitely worth it. It really is. If you don't, then no, it's not really worth it. No. Would be a Huffer ability 11 with the Solus core be overpowered? No, I actually had Solus on my Huffer for quite a while, just on a leveling team because I didn't really use Solus. So it wouldn't be overpowered, but it's still a decent, thing to do. It's still a thing to use if you're going to use these lasers quite a bit. Again, if you're struggling for, attack, if you're struggling in DPS, then I would definitely look at using Huffer. I really would, with maybe Solus and maybe even Wheeljack or Inferno. I'd really look at that. I really would. If you're struggling for health in your team, then no, I wouldn't look at Huffer because it doesn't add that much extra health. Its health is quite low. And don't forget, that is a maxed 4-star. So, but yeah, Silverbolt's put a good point, and then a 5-star gets announced, and then you're gutted you invested in the 4-star. So, what I would advise anyone is before you invest in a 4-star, wait until March, wait until a 5-star batch comes out. Because, yeah, you might think, well, I'm not getting a 5-star anytime soon. But we worked out that pretty much you'll get 2 5-stars free to play every year. It's possible, guys. If you do every single event, complete every event, 2 5-stars per year is possible. So at least one. So what you don't want to do is wait for invest in the 4-star and the 5-star comes out and you've got a 5-star pull in the next 6 months and you want that bot. But don't forget that these 5-star batches are coming now every, say, 9 months. So if you wait till March and your 4-star is not in that batch, I'd go ahead and invest ability 11 because you've got 9 months before the next batch probably. So I wouldn't worry too much. You got to think that they do about 5 or is it 4, 5-star events per year with at least 1,000 shards. Normally about 1,200, 1,400 depending. So you got to add in your 4-star crystal dupes as well on top of that. Crystals you might get as well and things like that. So yeah, 2 are very easy to get. 1 definitely. So yeah, before you invest in 4-stars ability 11, I would honestly wait till March. And then once they announce the 5-stars, again, I'm a big fan of hoarding in a way, not hoarding to a point where, because you don't know what's coming up. You're hoarding when you know something is coming. So I knew ability 11 was coming. So I started saving Spark because I knew it was coming at some point. So I've hoarded for the last few months. I've now got, and I know people are going to go, how? I've now got 5 million Spark. And people are asking, you can't have 5 million. Well, you can, because you can have 3.5 million storage and 1.5 million in rewards just sat there. So you can have 5 million. So I've got 5 million. I've also got pretty much max Zen. I've got 3 million Zen on my normal account. And I'm actually buying XP now just to not max out. So I can do 3 bots off the batch, done. So I'm hoarding for a reason. I'm not just hoarding for the sake of hoarding because I know something's coming. If you know that a new 5-star batch is coming, save your 5-star shards. Don't invest in 11 yet. It's all about just waiting and being a bit patient and seeing what's coming and then making an educated guess. When you've got more information, you can make a better educated guess on what you want to do and get more value in the game. Berserk put 2 5-stars is too slow. Should be at least 4. Yeah, but you've got to think that 5-stars are end game material. If you start giving away 4 per year free to play, then the top players will have every 5-star in the game pretty much. I've got 12, and I spend. So I think you've got to be a bit realistic. Really, if they give 4 away, then what happens? They've got no room to improve that. Then people start saying, "I want more." No matter what you do, people want more. If you give 4 away, people will want 6. If it's 6 away, people want 8. And these are sort of end game, material. They really are. Berserk's put how many years to play endgame? Yeah, well, back in the day, 5-stars, they weren't accessible. You get 1 a year spending if you were lucky back then. 5-star shards have increased a lot. But once you start giving everyone 5-stars, no one needs 4-stars anymore. No one uses them. And although we all like 5-stars, would all like them, ultimately, spending keeps the game going, sadly. And, from a pure, what I would like players to get, then yeah, I understand completely. Then yeah, I would love everyone to have, hey, let's just give everyone a 5-star every 3 months. Why not? But I also understand for longevity in the game, and I also understand for for keeping the game going. They could easily give a 5-star away every month, but within a year the game will be dead. The game will be gone for everyone. So sometimes you've got to make that hard decision of not giving everyone everything and keeping things slightly out of reach for people to attain, for them to keep chasing. Maybe not just with money, but I mean in terms of the game, having things slightly out of reach for them to keep playing the game. But you know, could they do a guaranteed 5-star event once a year? I don't think so, because again, they value 4 stars even so much that even giving a 5-star away every year, that's then giving 3 away every year. They already give 2 away, 3 every year. So, you know, it is, yeah. And Silverbox made a good point there. It is a lot easier than it used to. You know, how many top players with multiple 5-stars quit then? Well, yeah, quite a bit, but they quit through boredom, through having too many. That's the truth. If you want, once you've got all the 5-stars you need and you're 300 in Prime League, where do you go? There's no ceiling from there, and that's why it needs to be hard at all levels. That's why you need something to attain. You need something to achieve. Whether you're the best player in the game or whether you're a HQ 10, you need something to achieve. But yeah, cool. But I think they will do a guaranteed 4-star event for the Combiner when it comes out. No, I do not know when it's coming out. No, I don't know when Omega Supreme is coming out either. I get asked them questions so much on a daily basis. When's Computron coming out? When's Omega Supreme coming out? I really don't know, guys, honestly. I couldn't say. But I do know that obviously they will be available soon over the next few months. But we've not even started testing Computron yet. And Grindtime's laughing because he even asked me the other day. I was like, "Don't you start?" But yeah, someone has asked me about the Mega Supreme. I am going to show it this weekend because, you know, I don't want to get into depth about other stuff. I want to stick to Ability 11 and stick to new combats on this stream, and that's the plan. It's already been over an hour, which is the normal stream time. But we're going to go on now and look at the combats and then finish it off within about an hour and a half. So I don't want to get onto too many questions in the stream lasts all night. But if you've got any other questions that are not just Ability 11 related, join me at the weekend. It's only a Triple XP event. I'm always free to play on Triple XP events. So if you want to come see how I play Triple XP events, free to play, come and check it out. If you've got any questions about anything, it doesn't have to be Ability 11. If you want to see Omega Supreme, if you want to ask any questions about best bots or who to use, you can join me there. But if you've got any questions, guys, honestly, the best place is Discord. If you tag me in the right place in Discord, I'll always come in there and answer. We've got loads of decent players in there that'll answer questions as well. So, you know, you can easily, you know, come in the Discord server and, yeah, and ask me any question you like. If you tag me, I'll always pick it up. It might not be straight away. Depends on what I'm doing. Depends on time zones, etc. But if you're in the Discord server, then I'm sure one of the mods will post the stream. Post a link anytime soon. Hint, hint. But yeah, come and join Discord server, guys. It's a good source of information, and you know, really good if you've got any questions or if you want to have any more knowledge or anything like that. Okay, cool. Okay, looking at the new combats. So here we go. So looking at them from pure stats. So we've got 10-star Night Stalker and 10-star Stripes. So what you've got to forget is that, you know, on Stripes, it says, it doesn't now. It used to say damage, but it doesn't now. So Night Stalker has 17,000 health, and Stripes has 13,000 health. Now, that's slightly less health than Night Stalker, but there's a big difference between the two because Night Stalker runs out front, Stripes stays behind. So that's the stats of the 5-star. I know people like to screenshot it and share it around alliances. So that is Stripes, ability 10 5-star, 13,000 health and 171 healing. So then we have the 4-star. I put about level 9. I've got most of mine around level 8. So I think level 9 is a good you know, point to maybe achieve for a 4-star. And that has 9,000 health and 114 points. Then the 3-star, I've leveled to level 6. And that is 5,000 health and heals for 70 points per second. I've not really touched the 2-star, to be honest with you. I personally wouldn't use 2-star combats. Maybe on 3-star bots or lower level bots, something like that. But yeah, I'd maybe use it on a leveling team. But yeah, not really for wars. The perfect combat bot or a suicidal bot? Well, we will see. So, base trials. So I've put them on 3 different types of. So we've put them on, and it's gone. Where is it? Here. It was Goldfire, which is a bot that rushes ahead. So you can see there, we've got stripes on him. Then we've got Sentius. So Sentius uses ability, but it doesn't move. He's pretty much stationary. It does move slightly, but it doesn't move much. So where is Sentius? And Sentius, we've got the 3-star on, and then obviously we've got the 5-star stripes. And I forgot who I've put him on. Rook. That's what I put him on. Rook. Nope, he's gone. There we go. Stripes on Rook. Okay. So we'll drop them all at the same time, but we'll show them individually. So when you attach stripes to a bot, his ability only targets that one bot. So if you got, he's not a healer in that sense where he will heal the closest bot. If you attach him to Rook, he will only heal Rook. He won't transfer to another bot. So whatever bot you attach him to, he is their partner. He is their healer. He stays on their side, depending on how you use him. So we've got Goldfire here, and it's a slight problem, but it just means you got to be more careful on how you use him. So there's stripes, but if we use sacrifice, he then starts to attack. Once you use a bot's ability, he will start to attack instead, and that's when he will die quite quickly. Now, for those that have leveled maybe Cup with a healer or a bot with a healer, it's exactly the same as a healer. Once you use that bot's ability, the healer disengages and targets a defense. This is exactly the same as a healer. The only difference between a healer is it heals for less than a healer, and the other difference is that it's assigned to one bot. So you could literally have 3 healers on there. You could have 3 stripes on there. You could have the 5-star, 4-star, and 3-star, or 4, 3, and 2, and you've got 3 extra healers on your team. You could easily do that, and that's a good viable option. But what you got to think about is that you might think, oh, I can put it on my gunners, and I thought that straight away. I thought, oh, you know what? I need to make sure I keep blades alive. I'm going to put it on blades. But then you've got to take off flak or top shot. So, maybe not, on gunners. I wouldn't recommend it unless you're looking at maybe red alert. But you've got to take top shot or flak off, which is, a huge no-no. For me, they're the best in the game, So Wind Chaser support, can I try an Afterbreaker? It'd be exactly the same effects. Once you use Afterbreaker, he will disengage and start attacking and die. Straight off. As soon as you use ability, he disengages. We're going to do the same with Sentius and show exactly the same. And then I explain on how you choose which bot to put it on. And it's quite simple when you really think about it. Yeah, exactly, Vincent. It's not worth the trade-off. It's not worth giving it extra healing for, to remove flak. So Sentius. So similar with Sentius. So once Stripes drops, once we use the ability, Stripes disengages and attacks. So as soon as you use an ability, that's him pretty much dead. So what you've got to think is you've got to put it on a bot where their ability is used quickly. It's a very quick ability. So Vincent's put, what about Hoist? Yeah, because Hoist, no. I could try it on Hoist, but because he uses ability and it lasts quite a long time, he'll disengage. He won't stay with Hoist. He will disengage and attack because Hoist uses ability. Yeah. What you've got to do is you've got to put it on a bot where their ability is used quickly. It's like instantaneous. Done. So bots like Smokescreen. Yeah. Smokescreen is pretty quick. Yeah. That would work. Would I take off maybe Glitch or Flak or Top Shot off him? No. So I think it's more geared towards, tanks maybe. Hot Rod. Yes, Chris Taylor. Like Rook. Yes. Vincent's put Hoist. It does. Hoist does transform. It transforms into a car. So yeah, it does transform. So what we could do here now. So we put in a rock down. So there he is. Once we use hook, it disengages, but re-engages again. Now you got to think that if he's on it, you can see there that he's taking a lot of damage now because he's jumped ahead of Rook. So he can be quite suicidal. So you've got to be careful when to use the abilities. But this is what I considered. Here we go. This is what I was doing. This is what I was running. I was running it on, say, Ratchet. Or even, apologies, I did try Ratchet and change my mind. I did it on First Aid. Now, the reason for First Aid is that if you put 4-star wrong on First Aid, it actually reduces his healing. So what you're going to put on First Aid, everyone puts Night Stalker on just because you can't put wrong on. There's no really viable combat bots. But by putting stripes on a healer, you know, your healers stay back anyway. Your healers don't take much damage. So if you put stripes on a healer, you know, if your healers take damage, stripes will heal them up, and your healers spend less time healing each other and actually even healing the bots. How many times have you had one healer and you've had to use Ratchet's heal bomb to heal him? If you've got Wheeljack, unless it's ability 11, he can't heal himself. So once you're, you know, unless you've got Micronus, yes, that does heal, but you know, unless your healer is in that Micronus or unless you've got a second healer, your healers can struggle. So if you put it on a healer, especially First Aid, because you don't want to lose Rung really off Ratchet, but if you put it on First Aid, you can't really equip Rung, then, you know, it's good on First Aid. And Eli has put stripes is only made for FA. No, you could put it on a gunner if you're willing to lose flak or top shot. You know, if you're willing to do that. You know, Smokescreen already has his range without glitch, so could easily work on Smokescreen. So let's just go through some bots. So who else? So no, not this Prime, not Hotspot. Warpath, but then the Volatile Mixture. Basically, you'd want that. Laser Optimus, ability lasts forever. Firefly, no, because he will obviously fly across the map. Ratchet, yes, but only if you want to lose Rung. You know, why not on Prime? Because you could on Prime, but for the time that Prime rushes, he will disengage and then follow in tripping outposts and everything else. Maybe on Blaster, maybe on Blaster. It depends again because the combat will jump ahead, but it all depends on where the defenses are and where your bot is. You could protect them with Blaster minions. It depends on Sharkticons as well. I tried it on a full team, and you got as well. What you got to think of is that the healing that he gives is about half of what a healer gives. So 4-star stripes gives about half of the healing what Ratchet gives, but it's all dependent on which bot you put it on, where they are on the map, and what they got in front of them. Now, in my team, stripes will be amazing. I can't wait to get him. I think it will be immense because I have Rook's Hollows in front of him. I have Sharkticons. I have Blaster's minions. I use a lot of distraction techniques. That's the way that I do my attacks. If you use a solid walk team where you don't use Sharkticons or Quintus, which for me is crazy, but if you don't, then you know it's gonna struggle. The healing is even lower than a rejuve core on a high HP. Yeah, but you've got to think this is as well as. Don't think of it as instead of a rejuve. Don't think of it as well as Incredive Mike instead of Micronus. This is as well as. So you're adding stripes on top of healers, on top of, you know, a lot is said. A lot is not. You've got to think that, you know, I use abilities quite a lot to heal my healers. If my healers are struggling, I have got to keep them alive. I've got to keep them alive. And I use Ratchet's heal bomb quite a lot to keep them alive. At least putting stripes on them means that it will keep them alive for a lot longer. You know, the healing is quite considerable. It's half. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not going to like kid you. There is problems, and I can see people saying like, it needs a buff because it needs to stop disengaging. It can't. It's impossible to do because that's how healers work. Because if it didn't disengage, as soon as Firefly crossed the map, he would follow it. He would run across the map and die anyway. So there's no two ways to do it. Either he follows the bot no matter what, for every single bot, no matter ability, because you can't say, oh, well, with Optimus Prime, he'll follow him, but with Firefly, he won't. Well, no, it's standard for every single bot. But you got to think that how often do you really use healer's abilities? Not that much. So he will stay behind right at the back. So that's beneficial. Don't forget, you can also heal the combat as well with Ratchet. So if he starts getting hit, you could even use Ratchet's heal buff to heal him. It's extra healing. For a long time that I wanted to go one healer, but thought I can't really go one healer because I need them two healers. But now I'm thinking, if I can get 2 stripes, if I can get 4-star and 3-star stripes into my gunners or into my team, it's hard without Flak or without Top Shot. Maybe put it on Rook, maybe on Blaster instead of Night Stalker. I'm not too sure yet. But if I can fit those 2 into my team, that's a healer. I'm getting an extra healer because they do about half each. I'm pretty much getting an extra healer in my team. So I can do away with a 4-star healer, have 1 healer and 2 stripes in my team, and then go 1 healer. And then again, put another gunner in, and then add more DPS in. So, there's lots of ways you can add stripes in. Yeah, it's not perfect by any means. And, it's not going to get buffed because you can do half the healing of a healer. There's different ways you can use him. Put him on your tanks, put him on your gunners. You put him on your gunners, he can run ahead, but then by the time he gets to your tanks, he'll turn back again. And don't forget, once your gunners walk off, and what I'll do to try and convince you guys, I'll try and use a walk team. Because I've tested him quite a lot and I was impressed, and I'm quite pumped about getting him. So we'll put blades in there. We'll put trying to think of my team. We'll put Jetfire in there. He's got his core on. Yeah, we'll put Jetfire in there, but obviously we need a good combat on, obviously. Make sure I've got combats on my gunners. There we go. And before anyone says, I know he's not a gunner, but you know what I mean. Blades. 5-star Top Shot. Before anyone says that's unrealistic, it's actually not, because mine's level 9. My 5-star, and he's maxed out pretty much Blades, so not very unrealistic. Then we're going to have, obviously, tracks. If we can tracks. It's a bit unrealistic they're all maxed. Mine aren't quite maxed, but yep, he's got Top Shot. He's ready to go. And then we're going to use Ratchet and First Aid. But what we'll do is we'll take it off First Aid. We can just keep it on, actually. We can actually keep it on for now. So there's no combiner, so we'll just go like this. In fact, no. I want to take it off First Aid. I want to prove that it can go on a tank. On equip. Yep. And then back on Rook. I can find him now. Where are you? Where's Rook gone? See, I hate this because it's on my test account. There he is. I have no idea where anyone is on my test account. Okay, cool. Let's make sure that he also has, again, we're going to put a healing core on him. We're going to put my Cronus on. So yeah, let's been trying different things. So all my cores are off the show. This is not my normal sort of war setup. So we've got my Cronus on him. We've got behind him as well. And then instead of Sensius, we want Blaster. Got Quintus core. We're going to take Night Stalker off him. We're going to put Star Stripes on him. And we'll keep Hotspot on as well. But I'm not going to have stripes on Hotspot. For sure. We'll put Night Stalker on him instead. So normally I'd do a sacrifice attack, but I just want to walk it and show you. We'll go on hard mode because it is a good team. Does Stripes re-engage? It does. Yes, it does re-engage afterwards, after the ability has finished. But the problem is that if your bots are far away from the next defense, when disengage, he'll run ahead, and then your bots need to catch up. But again, once you've got minions, once you've got other stuff, then it'll work well. So we're going to do a hack here, obviously, because we've got a thunderstorm. You see there, Stripes has dropped behind. See there, the Stripes is quite considerably behind. So once you use the ability there to pop an outpost, Stripes disengage. But you can see there that he'll re-engage again. It's quite hard to see, I know. When I did it, I used only one Stripe, to be fair, to make it easier. But you can see there, they're both still engaged. They're both still engaged behind. Even though I use Rook's ability, he's still engaged. I know I put it on Sentius, but I'm not going to use his ability. Use Rook again. So he will disengage, but he's still in that. He's still in that sort of that area of bots. The micro will still heal him as well, like other bots, and then he will re-engage again. And you can still see there, look, because he hasn't run ahead too much. Because we've got the tanks up front, he will run slightly ahead. He will run off a bit, but then we'll just re-engage a bit. You can see how far they sit back as well. They sit back where your healers are. So I hope this sort of like, gives you an idea that, they are good combats. They do sit back. So yeah, running ahead, they do disengage. They do have problems. That's a good point as well, though. That, the cannon cores, the high velocity shells, obviously will make a, huge amount of difference. They will. Dead. But you get the idea, that the combat bots will stay behind. They do re-engage afterwards. They will stay back quite a bit. I wouldn't worry too much about them running ahead. I wouldn't use them really be soloing. I didn't really try it in soloing as much. But yeah, you definitely struggle soloing a bot and runs ahead. But they do stay behind quite a bit, even when they re-engage. As long as they stay around where your tanks are behind, as long as you've got a healer there, they'll work quite well. So yeah, they're quite decent. They're quite considerable. Okay, cool. So like I said, guys, I'm not going to answer too many questions today. If you've got any more questions, come and join me on weekend. I'll be doing a stream on Saturday where I'll be showing them more. If you've got any questions about the combats, anything you want to test them with, I'm pretty sure it doesn't work with hoist, like I said, but we'll try that on Saturday. Come along, and any bots you want to try them on, just come into the chat and say, will you try it with this bot, Wozza? I will gladly try it with any bot you like. I really will, guys. So join me on Saturday. We'll go more in depth on which one they can work on better. Or come to Discord, Grindstone can ask. But I'm not doing any more testing tonight. It's late. Don't forget, we're in the UK here, so it's very late. But yeah, we're definitely doing some more testing on Saturday. What time are we running Saturday? I think around a similar time. On Saturday. So yeah, the standard time we're doing on Wednesday, but on a Saturday as well. And yeah, tune in and we will be doing some more testing. I normally threw a few links around the line chats and a few Facebook chats, so be sure to check them out. if you're not sure, but again, it should be the same time. We are going to be doing some giveaways in Discord probably the next couple of days. So if you're not in Discord yet, come and join us. Do regular giveaways, giving away up to 10k Spark, Combiner Spark, Combat Spark, Prems, up to 10 Prems. It's a great little giveaway. So make sure you join us in there as well. And make sure you join us on Saturday for some more in-depth talk about the new combats and Ability 11 or whatever you want me to test it with. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate everyone joining in. Don't forget to hit a like on the video as a fingers up to all the trolls. Don't forget to tune in on Saturday. And don't forget to come and join Discord if you want some advice. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. And peace out, guys.